morning, which we love right here every Tuesday on Pure West Radio. And this morning we are being joined by Reverend Sophie. Morning, Reverend Sophie.
Morning, how are you? You're all right?
Well, we're good, thanks. We haven't caught up with you for a couple of weeks. We've had Father Neil in the hot seat.
I know, yeah. So last week I ended up having, last minute hospital appointments. So I had to whiz off to Withybush. So yeah, I couldn't make it last week. So Father Neil stepped into the breach for me. So bless him. He's a star. Yeah. He's a star.
Yeah, that's been great. It's lovely to have you back here as well. Of course, you've still been doing Alive and Kicking on a Sunday morning, which has been great. And it's Grati-Tuesday. Anna King's been messaging us this morning. She's been grateful for the tunes and for the G&T Breakfast Show, and also because they've only got Freddie Mercury coming to join them at Milford Haven on the 15th of July. So she's very grateful for that. And Gina, you found something as well.
Yeah, I have. I was on just, perusing through Facebook, and I came across the Saundersfoot Connect page, and I liked this little message. Trisha Dean had posted, "I would like to give a shout out to lovely Saundersfoot folk." She said, "I had a message from an unknown chap last night who found my bus pass, but I didn't even know I'd lost it. He took the trouble to have a little look on this site. My name was up there, and voila, I've collected it from harbour staff this morning. The kindness of strangers." So I love that. So well done, Saundersfoot folk.
Yeah. Yay. So I do love Grati-Tuesday, and it's that chance to look back and think about all those small little things that others do for us, whether we know it or not. So that's really great. Sophie, what's your message for us on this Grati-Tuesday?
Well, my message and my things that I'm grateful for are possibly two different things today, because I wasn't sure I could combine the two. But I am very, very grateful for Uptown Funk.
Oh.
So I think we need to listen to that at some point during the show if we can. But so yesterday I spent some time with some colleagues, and I just had a mad moment, and I was leading the colleagues in some training. And I thought, do you know what? These guys just need to do a bit of dancing. So I put on Uptown Funk and had the best part of 60 clergy stood up dancing yesterday morning. And the Archdeacon had his head in his hands like this. He was like, "Oh, what is she doing?" But it was okay. It was good fun. And it was just lovely to see all of these wonderful, wonderful people. But it's also the 4th of July today, which is Independence Day. And I'm also grateful for Independence Day, because on this day back in 1982, I was baptized. And I was baptized by a clergy person called Reverend David Tizard, who actually now lives in Cardigan. And of course, I've come from Salisbury in Wiltshire. So he baptized me in Salisbury and is now in Cardigan. But I'm grateful that he baptized me, because from the age of probably about 3 or 4 to the age of about 27, I didn't believe in Jesus at all. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything really, for various reasons. But there was no belief, no faith in my life whatsoever. But it's also, of course, Independence Day. And so I was reminded this morning about how across the world there are places that are under oppressive regimes. Now, of course, Independence Day, it was the regime of the British Empire, which, of course, the Queen, God rest her soul, has gone huge amounts of way to try and rectify some of the hurt that went on over centuries. But we are still in a time where there are oppressive regimes, and where there are people being, a conflict. And so for me, I always link those two things together. That kind of freedom that came for me, that freedom that came in Christ when I was baptized as a baby and later took up that faith, but also the freedom that is available to all people if we work towards peace and justice, and if we work towards a place where everybody is loved. Now, the biggest message that comes out from the Bible, as far as Jesus is concerned, is to love one another. His greatest commandment was to love one another, and oppressing people and taking away their liberties is not loving a person. So if we can all love one another and all work towards what Jesus was working towards, then what Jesus brings to us, then actually we'll be in a much better place. So that's where I'm at today. We are it is Independence Day for the Americans, but it's actually a gentle reminder to me that I was baptized and I was given that freedom in Christ. So there we are. That's my little thought, my little nugget for this morning.
I love that. So be mindful of the independence that we all have of being here and our free thought, and that being in the United Kingdom, generally speaking, we are free to do as we please within the confines of the law, but there are others less fortunate, and even those on our streets and in our neighborhoods might be not able to live freely and independently, and we can all do a little bit to help our neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, if a person can't even access dental, dental surgery and that sort of thing, or if they can't access food or they can't get heating, those things are oppressing people. That's not giving them the free liberty that we're all entitled to. So we think of ourselves as being a free country, but actually there's quite a lot of people who are being oppressed by the way that our country is run. So we need to be quite careful in making sure that we are looking out for those people who are less fortunate than us, so that we can we can give them that liberty that they deserve. Absolutely.
Of course, and we've all experienced that. I'm just thinking, Gina, you've just mentioned Saundersfoot Connect, and that was born out of lockdown, where we all experienced it.
Yeah, and things are still going on, you know, with the Penna and the Pater Hall, and also, just like I mentioned this morning, at the community get-together at Lower Frog Street in Tenby. All of these things were born at that time to help people within our communities, and there was a real need for it. You know, something very small to some people might mean the world to others, and this is just do what you can to help others.
Absolutely.
I love that. Do what you can to help others. We're not in lockdown anymore. We're not restricted in our movements. And if you're free and able to do bits and pieces, then we can explore. Rachel's been in touch just before we were talking, actually. Borida, hope you're all well. Rachel is grateful to be on a holiday from work this week and spending it traveling around the county to some places we haven't visited yet. They went to Bosheston Lily Ponds yesterday, and they're planning to visit White Sands later this week, so up near St. David's. So many lovely places still to find, and they would be grateful if you could comment on this video with any more ideas. They would be gratefully received, and they hope that everyone has a great week. Now, the first place that sprung to, well, actually Gina's mind, was the Shell House in Boncath, but it's only open on a Thursday if you want to pop in there.
Oh, yeah, well, this is something you found, didn't you? You found it last year. I'd never heard of it, or I haven't seen it, but it was somewhere where you visited.
Yeah, it's only small, but it's marvelous, and it's been featured on is it Town and Country and Coast or something? So it's been featured there. It's open on a Thursday for you to pop down. So if you're heading up towards White Sands, it's not really that much. Well, it's a bit further inland towards Cardigan and Aberyron. But that was lovely. And Gina, you were thinking of somewhere else as well.
Yeah, it was Canarth Falls. That's always really nice to go over there. And of course, you'll have to stop off somewhere to have a little, maybe a scone and a cup of tea. Oh, it sounds lovely. Should we go now? Are you coming, Reverend Sophie?
Definitely. Sounds amazing. I was thinking about White Sands, and if they're going out to White Sands, then actually the whole of that coastal path is really beautiful. And there's St. Non's Well, and the chapel, St. Non's Chapel. But St. Non's Well has been there for 1,500 years plus. And people go there because the well is purported to have healing properties. So you can go in there and you can take the water out of the well and you can use it for people. One person told me that they had terrible eczema and they washed their hands in the well and the eczema went. So interesting. Interesting. I don't know, but healing properties. So if you need a bit of healing this week, maybe St. Non's Well in St. David's on the coastal path is a good place to go. And there's lots of little historical stuff on that route. Actually, there's St. Justinian's and then St. Patrick's as well. So St. Patrick's is actually on White Sands Beach, but it's got lots and lots of graves underneath that are being washed away into the sea. So every so often you see some bits of body coming out the side of the bank there, but they did quite a lot of work just recently to try and protect that site. So they've started to move the bodies. They've actually had to move them back to try and protect them. So there's quite a lot of archaeological work that went on there as part of the Ancient Connections project that's been happening. There's all sorts of things going on. So it's quite an interesting, all of that coastal path has got some really interesting stuff. So I would suggest if you're going out to White Sands, you might as well make the most of it and spend some time going along the coastal path.
There you go. And then Michael from Milford Haven agrees as well with Boncath Falls, and you never know who you might spot around St. David's area, because apparently Gareth Bale was spotted in Carvi Bay. So you never know who you'll see on our coastline. Reverend Sophie, thank you so much for joining us, talking about your baptism, the 4th of July, independence, and loving our neighbours and doing what we can to make sure that people don't feel oppressed and restricted. And what is to end the conversation looking at where we can freely go here in the county. We've got 2 songs lined up. Sophie, you know one of them.
Uptown Funk.
Uptown Funk's on the way, and playing for Michael and for Rachel. We're going to play a bit of Waterfalls as well. It's coming up to 9:20.
Ooh, Stilton and crackers. Oh,